Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I am your host, Eric Smith, and today I'm talking about the Blackstone Chronicles, and Part 1, An Eye for an Eye, The Doll by John Saul. And this is from, I don't know, I can't tell who it's from. Random House. There it is. It's the spine is a little too small for me to see what it says on there. It's on there somewhere. So, before I get into reviewing this, a few things I want to go over. First of all, new t-shirt alert. There we go. But the Blackstone Chronicles is a serial novel that came out originally in 1997. There's an introduction by John Saul where he talks about how he's always had these ideas for the town of Blackstone and the people that live there, but didn't really have the time to write it all down. But with the success of The Green Mile by Stephen King, which was originally serialized in 6 parts in '96, I believe, John Saul saw the perfect opportunity to start telling the stories of the people of Blackstone. And I said this is a serialized novel, but it seems that it's a little more episodic, almost an item of the week that has an overarching story that's all going to come together in the 6th book, I assume. And I decided to review each one individually, mainly for the content. I have some large books that I want to read, and I figure if I read these and do each one individually, 6 reviews, that's 3 weeks worth of stuff. It gives me a nice buffer to read some bigger books so that I don't run out of content. And I also wanted to do these one at a time so that the stories don't bleed into each other, so I don't get, I don't start talking about the 2nd or 3rd book while I'm talking about what's actually in this book. Normally I record everything on Saturday. Sometimes it slips into Sunday. So I'll have a nice stack of books and I'll review. That's why I'm always in the same t-shirt for a bunch of videos in a row. But I just finished this 10 minutes ago. And I'm going to record each review as I finish the book before I start the next one, so that, again, they don't bleed into each other. And then after I've reviewed all 6, I believe I'll do a 7th video talking about the whole thing overall. But this isn't going to be any type of special series or anything on my channel. They're just going to be part of the Low Budget Review Show, as you saw with my lovely piece of paper. All right, so, and I'm not going to go over all of this in every review. This was just an introductory thing. So, the Blackstone Chronicles, Part 1, An Eye for an Eye, The Doll. I think I'm going to start with this first one. I'm going to read what's on the back cover, and the first part is sort of an overall Blackstone Chronicles kind of thing, and then the second part is about this book in particular. Again, I'm not going to do this with every book, but here we go. This is what it says on the back cover. Master of terror in all its forms, John Saul now thrills us with a serial novel that brings the terror. All right, let me start that over, because there's no editing here at the Low Budget Review Show. Master of terror in all its forms, John Saul now thrills us with a serial novel that brings to terrifying life the small New England town of Blackstone and the secrets and sins that lay buried there. From the top of Blackstone's highest hill, the old Blackstone Asylum casts its shadow over the village. Built in the 1890s, the asylum has stood vacant for decades, but now the wrecker's ball is about to strike, smashing into stone and unleashing a terrible evil, an unholy fear long locked within these walls. Soon, strange gifts will begin to appear on the doorsteps of Blackstone's finest citizens. Each bears a mysterious history. Each brings a horrifying power to harm. Each reveals another thread in the suspensefully woven web of the Blackstone Chronicles. So that's on the back of all the books. And then, Part 1. The editor of the Blackstone Chronicle, Oliver Metcalf, nervously presides over the ceremony to begin demolition of the old asylum. But the building's fate hangs in the balance as financing problems halt the project. Contractor Bill McGuire, all set to proceed, can't hide his dismay. With a family and another baby on the way, he can't afford delays. Then a package arrives at the McGuires, a beautiful antique doll with long blonde hair. His daughter, Megan, wraps her arms around it. His wife, Elizabeth, remains suspicious. Who sent the doll? Who is it for? When neither Elizabeth nor Bill can know, what neither Elizabeth nor Bill can know is that this innocent-looking gift brings with it a murderous menace. So, that's the back cover copy. For the too long didn't watch folks, I'm giving this, I haven't even rated it on Goodreads yet, because, again, I just finished it. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5. Can't say that's going to be the case with all of the books, and I will give an overall rating for the story, even though I won't be able to do that on Goodreads, because I'm doing them all individually. But 5 out of 5, and a lot of that has to do with the shock value. There's some amazing shocks in this book. I haven't read a lot of John Saul. The God Project was the first thing I read. I really liked it. And then I read a few more, and all of those seemed like the same story, just told with different characters. So I stopped reading John Saul. But Judith Sonnet, favorite author of mine, was reading these, posted it on Facebook, and I decided to pick up the whole set at half-price books. And this seems like the perfect time to read them for reasons I've already mentioned. But 5 out of 5, and I can't compare it to John Saul's other writing. That was the point of saying that I haven't read a lot of his stuff. But it's very 90s writing. There's maybe some slight problematic elements with that 90s sort of writing, the descriptions of women and certain things that are said about women. But overall, it's a tiny, tiny part of this. And as I said, there's an introduction by John Saul, so he talks about what he's doing here with this series. And then we get a little bit of history, not much, just hints of the history of Blackstone. We're introduced to a number of characters. It's the day that they're going to ceremoniously smash the building. It's just going to be, one whack with the wrecking ball before the project really gets underway the next day. And we do get bits of different characters, bits of history, bits of mystery going on, hints at things that have happened in the past. But mainly, after that beginning, the story focuses on the McGuires. Bill, his wife Elizabeth, his daughter Megan, and their housekeeper, Mrs. Goodrich. She's been taking care of Elizabeth since Elizabeth was a child. And they do receive this mysterious doll, and I always love a good creepy doll story. Good creepy doll story. I'm looking at you, Annabelle. And this fits the bill. There's lots of creepy little things going on, and as I said, there's some really shocking things that happen, and shocking to me anyway, because again, maybe this is John Saul all the time. Maybe all of his books have these sorts of shocks in them, in which case I don't know that I would be as surprised if I were, one who had read tons of his stuff. But I haven't, and so I was shocked. And maybe you will be too. So yeah, the McGuires get this doll, and things start to happen. And it's he writes interesting characters, and again, I assume that many of these characters that we've met are going to play a bigger role in later stories. Maybe he's going to introduce characters that we haven't even met yet. But we are getting these connections between these old families that have been in Blackstone. And what's his name? Oliver Metcalf, I think, is going to play a huge role, being as his father was the director of the asylum, perhaps. And there seems to be rumors and things about him. Oliver Metcalf actually lives next to the asylum. And so again, we get to meet all of these characters and learn a little bit about them. I assume we're going to learn more as the story progresses, but we're focused on the Maguires and what's going on with them, and it's wild. It is crazy. I don't know if the rest of the series is going to be able to sustain this. We'll see. And it's just a tiny book. I read it in one day. It's about 80 pages. And so I can't talk about too much about what goes on because I don't want to spoil anything. But you could read it by itself. I haven't read The Green Mile. I actually read the first few back when it came out. And I do have all 6 parts of that. But I believe that's the very definition of a serialized novel. It is just one story. I think. I'm not 100% sure. While, as I said, I believe this is more episodic, kind of monster of the week. And maybe like the first season of Buffy is a good example, where there was the monster of the week, but this overarching plot with the master and everything that all came to a head by the end of the season. And I picked that season because it was a short one. And of course, the X-Files. There's plenty of shows that have done this. But yeah, it feels to me that each book, at least the first 5, are going to be a mysterious object delivered anonymously to somebody, and it's going to mess them up. And I really like that. But again, it's more episodic than The Green Mile. So all of this is to say, I think you could probably just read this one and never read any of the other ones. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. It does set up this, again, overarching story. I say arcing sometimes. I say arching sometimes. But technically, you could read this as just a quick little horrific novella and not worry about any of the other stuff. And it's the stuff with the doll is contained enough, self-contained enough, that you could enjoy this on its own. But why would you? I don't know. And I didn't check beforehand because I wanted to just jump in and do this. I don't know if this is all available. I assume it's all available in like a single volume now, just as The Green Mile is. I'll have to look into that. If it is, that's the link that I'll put down for people to, put links for where you can get the books. And if it's all in one volume, I'll put that link down below. And maybe if they have links for this, I assume you're going to have to get it used. But maybe I'll throw in a link for the individual volume as well. But, all right, this has been kind of rambling. It's Monday. It's almost bedtime. I'm all out of sorts because I'm not doing this on Saturday. But as I said, I want to do these as soon as I finish reading them so they don't bleed into each other. Although, when I get to the next one, I'll talk about that and maybe talk a little bit about if it ties into this. And then, again, an overall final video. But that's it with a lot of rambling. I apologize for that. But hopefully the next few will go more smoothly. But that's the Blackstone Chronicles, Part 1, An Eye for an Eye, The Doll. Absolutely fantastic. I can only hope that the rest are as good as this. We shall see. Definitely giving it 5 out of 5. just it's well written. It has interesting characters, but the shock value really puts it over the top. Um, so there you have it. Question for this video. I did not think ahead on this. Don't know if I'll have a question every time. How about this? Simple enough. Are you a fan of creepy doll horror? And I suppose this could go anywhere from Annabelle to Chucky in the Child's Play movies. And, anything in between. I am a fan. I like it. I like creepy objects. Growing up, I loved Trilogy of Terror, which had the famous Zuni doll story in it. There's 3 stories, Trilogy of Terror. That's always stuck with me. I have somewhere in this, there's a nightstand right here, and in one of these drawers, I have a coaster with a picture of the Zuni doll, and it actually had a knot hole in one corner that had come out before the people made it. The crafters made it into a coaster. It looks like a bite taken out of it. But love the Zuni doll. I'm a fan of the Child's Play movies, although I haven't seen the last one. Cult of Chucky. I haven't seen Cult of Chucky, and I haven't seen the TV show. Annabelle. I haven't seen. I saw part of one of the movies. I hear this. I think the second one is supposed to be really good. But killer creepy dolls. We can go back to the Twilight Zone and the creepy killer doll in the one episode that I can't remember, Talking Tina or something. So yeah, it's not up there with killer animals or anything, things like killer worms. But I enjoy creepy dolls. What do you think of them? Do you have any favorites, whether it's books, movies, episodes of TV shows? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Something. See, I'm really out of it tonight. It's very close to bedtime. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Oh, comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here at the Low Budget Review Show. Please like, share, and subscribe, all the usual YouTube stuff. And if you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronan5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, fuzzy animals, is Eric Smith 5757. That's Eric with a K, ERIKSMITH 5757. And if you're on Blue Sky, I am @EL Smith. That's all I've got for you. This has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, I think. Until next time, read more books.